Hello, I am Khaja Asifullah, lecturer in chemistry from Government Degree College, Falaknuma, Hyderabad. Today I will present a video lesson on photochemistry. It is the fourth part or the fourth lesson of photochemistry. In last three lessons we discussed different topics from photochemistry. Today also we will discuss few topics from photochemistry. The first one is the Jablonski diagram. This diagram is nothing but a representation of the energy transitions caused by the absorption of a UV radiation by a molecule. When a molecule absorbs a UV radiation, it is excited to one of the excited singlet electronic state, either S1 or S2 or to any other higher energy states. Actually, S0 is called the ground state for the molecule or electron, and the higher levels or states of energy are called excited states like S1 or S2 or S3, etc. Whenever molecules or electrons absorb energy, they will go to higher energy level or excited states called as S1, S2, and the ground state is always known as S0. Although proportions to S2 and higher singlet states takes place in liquids and solids, these higher states usually drop very rapidly. That is in 10 to the power minus 12 seconds, and therefore it is called internal conversion. That means when a molecule or electron absorbs energy, they will go to higher energy levels from ground state to any higher energy level like S1 or S2, S3, etc. But they will immediately come back from S2, S3, S4, etc. to S1. It is called internal conversion and will take in 10 to the power minus 12 seconds. Now this will drop very rapidly to S1. The energy lost when S2 or S3 molecule drops to S1 is given up in small installments to the environment by collisions with neighboring molecules. Means when the excited molecule, which actually absorbed energy and from ground state it went to S2 or S3, will drop to S1 by giving up energy in small installments to the environment by collisions with neighboring molecules. Such a process is called energy cascade. So the process of coming back of electrons or molecules from higher energy states, that is S2, S3 to S1, is called energy cascade. Therefore, in most cases, the lowest vibrational level of the S1 state is the only important excited singlet state. So S1 is important for us to deal in this lesson or part of the lesson. This state can undergo various physical and chemical processes. The molecule in S1, that is first singlet state, and T1, that is first excited triplet state, can undergo following various physical processes. So before we discuss the physical processes, let us see what is triplet and what is singlet. These energy levels, which are higher energy levels, and this is the ground state energy level, these are called singlet. Therefore these are represented by S1, S2 and this S3. First singlet, second, third. These are called excited higher energy states, and these are called triplets. So triplets are between ground state and higher energy state. So this is the difference. Now we will discuss few physical processes. Here, when the molecule is in ground state, absorbs some light in the form of photon, goes to excited state, it is called excitation of the system or molecule or sometimes electrons, which gives out heat. The absorbed light or energy is emitted in the form of heat. It is called vibrational relaxation. And if molecule from S1 comes back to S0 by emitting light in the form of photon, it is called fluorescence. And from S1 to S0 by giving out some heat, it is called internal conversion. And if molecule goes from S1 to T1, that is first triplet state, it is called intersystem crossing or ISC. So from first triplet state to first excited triplet state, the molecule, if comes back, it will emit some heat. If the molecule comes back from first triplet excited state to ground state by giving out or by emitting some light in the form of photon, it is called phosphorescence. And if it comes back to ground state from triplet state by giving heat, it is called intersystem crossing, and the others are called photosensitization. So this figure, if we go into details of this figure, this blue color line or arrow shows that some energy is absorbed by the molecule and it will jump from ground state to any of the excited state called as S1 or S2 or S3. It has absorbed some light, and this is the state where molecule, which is excited molecule, comes back from S3 or S2 to S1. This is called internal conversion, IC. If molecule comes back from S1 to S0, this is called fluorescence, and some light is emitted. And if it goes to triplet state, this is called intersystem crossing. There, from triplet state to ground state, if it comes back, this is called phosphorescence. So green color arrow shows fluorescence and red color arrow shows phosphorescence. So in this figure also, this is internal conversion. When excited molecule or activated molecule comes back from S2 to S1, it is called internal conversion. If it goes from S1 to T1, that is triplet state, singlet state, first excited singlet state to first excited triplet state, if the activated molecule goes, then it is called intersystem crossing. If an activated molecule comes back from S1, that is first excited singlet state, to ground state, it is called fluorescence. Here F is nothing but fluorescence and h nu is light or photon emitted. This is absorbed one, A means absorbed, this is emitted, and here P means phosphorescence. That means during the process of phosphorescence the light emitted are given out in the form of photon. So h nu, nu is frequency. Here nu will be less because the energy will have longer wavelength, whereas the energy absorbed will have shorter wavelength. That we have to remember, because absorbed energy is more than the emitted energy. So absorbed energy will have shorter wavelengths and energy emitted will have longer wavelengths. In short, an activated molecule returns to the ground state S0 by dissipating its energy through either of the following two processes: radiative transitions and non-radiative transitions. Let us first consider radiative transitions. In this type, the activated molecule returns from the excited singlet state, that is S1, either directly to the ground state, that is S0, or through first excited triplet state T1 to the ground state S0. That means from S1 to S0 or from S1 to S0 through T1. These transitions are accompanied by the emission of radiation, that is light. The transition S1 to S0 is an allowed transition. It is called allowed transition from S1 to S0 and occurs in about 10 to the power minus 8 seconds. The emitted radiations are called fluorescence. In the last figure we saw that this is called fluorescence, and this will take place in 10 to the power minus 8 seconds. Now however, the transition from T1 to S0 is called forbidden transition, since this transition involves spin inversion. Its lifetime is greater and it is about 10 to the power minus 3 seconds. The emission of radiations during this transition, that is from first triplet state T1 to the ground state S0, is called phosphorescence. We have to note that during these transitions a part of absorbed energy by the molecule is lost in the form of heat. Fluorescent and phosphorescent radiations have lower energy, means they will have longer wavelength, since energy is inversely proportional to wavelength, that is E is equal to 1 by lambda, means absorbed energy will always have lower frequency and shorter wavelengths, and the emitted energy will always have less frequency and longer wavelengths than that of the absorbed light. Now, non-radiative transitions. In this type, the activated molecule returns from the higher excited state, that is S3 or S2 or T3 or T2, to the first excited state, that is S1 or T1. These transitions do not emit any radiations and hence they are called non-radiative transitions. Actually, energy of activated molecule is dissipated in the form of heat. Anyway, when the molecule, which is activated molecule, which is present in higher energy state, when comes back to lower energy state, will emit energy in any of the form. If it is not emitted in the form of light, then it has to be given out in the form of heat. because heat generally is not seen by naked eye except if it is given out in the form of visible light through the molecular collision. So the heat given out will be through molecular collisions. The activated molecule loses its energy in either of the two ways. First, the energy of activated molecule is dissipated in the form of heat through molecular collision, which is called interconversion process or IC, or it is also called as collision deactivation. So this process is called internal conversion or collision deactivation. And second is the activated molecule loses its energy due to transition involving different states of spin like S2 to T2, or it is called inter-system crossing, that is ISC. Since these transitions are forbidden, they occur through slow rates. That means the rate of interconversion or inter-system crossing is slow. This is called internal conversion, IC. It is slow process than these two processes. Similarly, it is also a slow one. Following figure shows the modified diagram showing transition between excited state, that is S2, S1 and ground state. In this figure, radiative processes are shown by straight line, whereas radiationless processes are shown by waves. So in this figure, radiationless processes, that is internal conversion and inter-system crossing, are shown by waves, whereas radiative processes, that is phosphorescence and fluorescence, this is fluorescence and this is phosphorescence, are shown by lines or arrows. This is internal conversion, this is inter-system crossing, and these are fluorescence and phosphorescence. So these are shown by waves and these are shown by lines. Green is of fluorescence, which takes place in about 10 to the power minus 8 seconds, and phosphorescence this figure also shows the similar things. Here on y-axis energy is taken. From this we can understand the ground state will have least energy than any of the energies of any higher states like S1 and S2, which are called excited states. So this is excitation of molecule from ground state to higher state S1 or S2. This is fluorescence, in which it will emit some light. This is internal conversion, this is inter-system crossing, and this is phosphorescence. Again here some light will be emitted by the molecule, which is activated molecule. Although both singlet and triplet states can undergo chemical reactions, they are much more common for triplets because of their more stability. Excited singlet state S1 in most of the cases have a lifetime of less than 10 to the power minus 10 seconds. So the lifetime of S1 is 10 to the power minus 10 seconds and undergo one of the physical process which is already discussed, like fluorescence or phosphorescence. They have a little chance to react chemically, so there will be very less chance of chemical reaction. Therefore photochemistry is largely the chemistry of triplet state. The important chemical pathways that can be taken by an excited molecule M star are simple cleavage into free radicals. If we represent a molecule, activated molecule, as A, B, C, then simple cleavage into free radicals like AB dot plus C dot, these are called free radicals. Or decomposition into molecules, A, B, C will decompose into E and F. Or intramolecular rearrangement means some rearrangement will take place within the molecule. ABC may give ACB. Photoisomerization, ABC may give ABC dash. And hydrogen atoms abstraction, ABC will give AB CH plus R dash, R star. Photodimerization, two molecules may combine to form a dimer. ABC gives to ABC taken twice. Or photosensitization, in which ABC will form ABC plus A star, which is photosensitized. Or M star, that is activated molecule, may form M and may emit some light, which is called luminescence. M star, that is activated molecule, may form molecule, and C, which has some energy, means that energy from M star or photosensitizer is transferred to C. Or it may give one electron, which is called photoionization, to form M plus. Or M star can give you A plus B, which is photodissociation. Or it may form N, that is rearrangement, or it may form product. So in this way we can represent in either of these two ways. Now photosensitization is the next topic. Substances which themselves are not sensitive to light but can be made so in the presence of a small quantity of a foreign substance, means the substance or reactant itself is not sensitive towards light, but if a foreign substance is present in small quantity and which can absorb light, then it can transfer or induce that in the reactant. So the foreign substance which absorbs light and stimulate the reactant to react. Such a substance which can absorb light and thus induces a photochemical change without itself taking part in chemical reaction is called photosensitizer. So in this type of process where the substance itself is not sensitive to light, but the foreign substance first absorbs light and then induces it into the second reactant, and then the reactant may undergo a chemical change which is called photochemical change, and the foreign substance in this process is called photosensitizer, and the phenomena is called photosensitization. A photosensitizer absorbs the light and passes it on to one of the reactant, which thus becomes active and enters into reaction. Thus a photosensitizer simply acts as an energy carrier. So photosensitizer is nothing but energy carrier. A photosensitizer is quite different from catalyst. Catalyst is generally a substance which enhances the rate of reaction without undergoing any chemical change. Here in photosensitization, the foreign substance which is called photosensitizer is completely different from catalyst, and photosensitized reactions are spontaneous and also involves an increase in the free energy of the system. Examples of photosensitized reactions. First, dissociation of hydrogen molecule into hydrogen atoms in presence of mercury vapors is one of the examples where mercury absorbs the light, means photon and become activated, but it will not undergo any chemical change. It will pass that light to hydrogen molecule, which undergo a change, means hydrogen molecule will dissociate into its atoms, and Hg, that is mercury, will remain as it is. So Hg or mercury vapors here act as photosensitizer. This is evident from the product formed by H atoms, that is hydrogen atoms. Actually, hydrogen atoms can reduce the metallic oxides, nitrous oxide, carbon monoxide, etc. Other similar reactions are dissociation of ammonia, phosphine, etc., or combination of hydrogen and oxygen to form water, or combination of nitrogen and hydrogen to form ammonia. Ozonization of oxygen molecule also is an example of photosensitization. In this, oxygen combines with oxygen atom to give ozone. Here decomposition of ozone can be shown like this. Here in this decomposition of ozone, chlorine acts as photosensitizer, which absorbs light, and then that will be passed to ozone molecule, which convert itself into oxygen molecule and oxygen atom, and chlorine molecule will be as it is. Then oxygen atom reacts with ozone to give two oxygen molecules. In this way, chlorine here acts as photosensitizer. Third example, decomposition of oxalic acid in presence of uranyl sulfate. This reaction forms the basis of actinometer, which is used to measure the intensity of radiation. This measurement of intensity of radiation, which are used in photochemistry, we discussed in one of the lesson, in which experimental determination of intensity we learned, where actinometer is used, in which we use uranyl sulfate. So decomposition of oxalic acid with the help of uranyl sulfate. This reaction forms the basis of actinometer, which is used to measure the intensity of radiation, in which colored uranyl ions absorb the light and then pass it to colorless oxalic acid, which then undergoes decomposition. The extent of decomposition depends upon the light energy absorbed. See, these ions actually absorb light in the form of photon and become activated, but this light is passed to oxalic acid molecule, which forms CO2, CO and water, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide and water. The uranyl ions here act as photosensitizer. Photosynthesis is another type of example. In this process, carbon dioxide and water is converted into carbohydrate in presence of light and chlorophyll. Here chlorophyll absorbs the light, sunlight, and then it passes that light to carbon dioxide and water molecule to form carbohydrate. So chlorophyll here acts as photosensitizer. So chlorophyll is a photosensitizer in photosynthesis, which absorbs visible light and passes that energy to carbon dioxide and water molecule, which combine to form carbohydrate along with the oxygen. It also forms oxygen during the reaction, in which chlorophyll absorbs light and then passes it to carbon dioxide and water, that is CO2 plus H2O, to form carbohydrate, and it also produces oxygen. One more example is the preparation of sensitive photographic films. In photographic films, we have film of silver bromide, which is sensitive only to visible light, but we can make it sensitive towards other parts of light like green, yellow and orange by incorporating a small quantity of suitable dyes with AGBR. When these dyes are mixed with AGBR, they will become sensitive towards green, yellow, orange, etc. Such films are called panchromatic films. Photographic emulsions which are sensitive to the near infrared radiations have made night photography possible. Means due to photographic emulsions which are used, we can take photograph even in darkness or in night. Photophysical phenomena which is also called as luminescence. Sometimes substances glow or they will emit some light which is called luminescence. The glow light can also be produced in a body by method other than action of heat is called luminescence. The body emitting this light is called luminescent. Before you understand this, you know that when a metal rod, especially iron rod, is heated, the color of iron rod will change. Initially it will be black in color, then red. It will become on heating, and then it will goes on, and the color goes on changing from blue, etc., to white color when it is having highest temperature, or it will give you white color. That means the color changes due to absorption of heat by metal rod. But here this change is not due to absorption of heat, it is due to absorption of light and then emission of light. So in luminescence, light is first absorbed then emitted, and the object or the substance is called luminescent. Since the light is produced due to some cause other than temperature, it is also termed as cold light. The return journey of excited electron to ground state may take place in a number of ways. This gives rise to different types of luminescence such as fluorescence and phosphorescence. So the glow or light may be due to fluorescence or phosphorescence. First, fluorescence, the phenomena in which substance absorb light and emit a part of it instantaneously, that is in 10 to the power minus 8 second, usually at a different wavelength, that is with higher wavelength, is called fluorescent, and the substance is called fluorescent. So during fluorescence, light emitted will have longer wavelength than the light absorbed. Thus fluorescence starts as soon as the substance is exposed to light, and it stops as soon as it is cut off. Means when light falls on fluorescent substance, it starts giving out light, means it will emit light, but the process will instantaneous and it will cut off when as soon as the light is cut off. The phenomena of fluorescence is explained on the basis of the fact that absorption of light energy causes excitation of electrons of the atoms or molecule of the substance. Means when light is absorbed, or energy in the form of light is absorbed by atoms or molecules, the electrons in molecules or atoms will also absorb the energy in the form of light, and will they get excited, means they will go to higher level, as it is shown in this figure also. This is the ground state, and they will go to higher states due to absorption of light or energy in the form of light. Then they will come back to their ground state, giving out some light or energy in the form of light. This is called fluorescent transitions, or the process is called fluorescence, and the substance is called fluorescent. So here the electron, which are excited electrons, immediately jump back after absorption. When they go to higher or excited states, they immediately come back to the lower level, emitting a part of absorbed light in the form of radiation of higher wavelengths, which is different from the wavelength of energy absorbed. Usually it is greater. It is due to the fact that the excited electrons return back to original levels in steps through the intermediate levels. However, in some cases, like in mercury vapors, emitted light has the same wavelength as that of absorbed light. So when the system is made up of vapors of mercury, they will emit the light of same wavelength which was absorbed, okay, or the emitted and absorbed light will have the same wavelength. This phenomena is called resonance fluorescence. The phenomena where the wavelength of emitted light is equal to the wavelength of absorbed light is called resonance fluorescence. Sometimes light of shorter wavelength is emitted. Sometimes what happens, the emitted light is higher, or it is having shorter wavelength than the absorbed light. It is due to the reason that the molecule or the system or the atom will have some energy in it before the absorption of light. So it will emit more energy, or the wavelength of this type of system, wavelength of light emitted will be shorter than the light absorbed. Okay. Few examples of fluorescent substances are certain organic dyes like fluorescein and eosine, fluorite, calcium fluoride, uranyl sulfate, chlorophyll, solution of quinine sulfate, etc. These are the few examples of fluorescent substances. Application of fluorescence in testing the conditions of foodstuff. It is used in detecting ringworm and for lightening purpose. Fluorescent tubes are widely used for this purpose. Second is phosphorescence, the phenomena in which a substance absorbs light and emit it for some time even after the external light is cut off is called phosphorescence. So if a substance emit light even after cutting off the light is called phosphorescence. Thus the phosphorescence may be regarded as slow fluorescence. It is observed mainly in solid, as in solids molecules are tightly packed and have least freedom of motion. The excited electrons thus keep on jumping back slowly for quite some time. Examples of the substances which are phosphorescent are like zinc sulfide, or the alkaline earth metals containing traces of sulfides of heavy metal. Such a mixture is generally used for luminous paint, for painting wash dials, electric switches, etc. These will give energy in the form of light even after cutting off the light or in darkness. Next topic is chemiluminescence, the phenomena of emission of light in a chemical reaction at ordinary temperature is called chemiluminescence. It is a reverse of the photochemical reaction. In photochemical reaction, a chemical reaction takes place by absorption of light. Okay, instead of absorption of heat, if a reaction occurs by absorption of light, it is called photochemical reaction. Now it is reverse. In chemiluminescence, what is happening? Light is emitted when a chemical reaction takes place at ordinary temperature. For example, light is emitted by glowworm, fireflies. It may be due to oxidation of luciferin, which is a protein, by atmospheric oxygen in presence of luciferase, which is an enzyme. So in presence of an enzyme, a protein is oxidized by atmospheric oxygen. During the process, light is emitted, or we can see the glow. Next, greenish blue color light is glowed in oxidation of Grignard reagent by oxygen or by air. So during oxidation of Grignard reagent, we see blue glow. Next is greenish glow of phosphorus when phosphorus reacts with oxygen of air to form phosphorus pentoxide, or oxidation of decaying wood containing certain forms of bacteria. One more is luminescence observed at night in the ocean, which is due to the decay of luminous jellyfish. The phenomena of chemiluminescence is explained on the basis of that a part of whole of the energy emitted during the reaction is used for excitation of electrons instead of appearing as heat, which is when come back to normal state emit light. Means when atoms or molecules of reactant absorb light, their electron also absorb light and go to excited state, and when they come back, instead of emitting heat or energy in the form of heat, they emit light or energy in the form of light. With this, we end the chapter. Today's lesson as well as the whole chapter is concluded with this. Thank you for watching. Thank you one and all.